We are live. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Industry Chat. 5 minutes late, fashionably late today, which is completely on me and the lovely Wi-Fi we occasionally struggle with out here in the, I guess you could call it country of Dallas, Texas. So I am here today with my dear friend Kate Parrish of Event Temple. Kate, thank you for joining us. I've been looking forward to this.
Me too. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Now tell me, okay, so you're in South Carolina, right? So what's your weather like today? It looks sunny in the
Oh,
background.
it's gorgeous. I mean, humble brag, I'm looking at deer eating my rose bush. So it's
Okay.
absolutely gorgeous outside right now.
I need to come visit. That sounds really nice. We see deer sometimes, but that just sounds awesome. So, Kate, I cannot wait to jump into our topic today, but and I don't know, I feel like you don't need much of an intro because people know who you are. The Event Temple name is just always out there doing a wonderful job. But tell us a little bit about you and introduce yourself. Give us a quick overview of Event Temple for those joining us who may not know, and then we'll dive into today's topic.
Sure, absolutely. So I've been in hospitality my entire life. Really, even from a young age, I was like the mom of the group and the event planner. So I went to Clemson, go Tigers, for travel and tourism, and moved to Charleston, where I call home now. I've since worn a lot of different hats in hospitality, from front desk agent to banquet server, wedding coordinator. It's just been a really, really fun adventure. Ended up as a director of sales, worked with a bunch of different brands, Hilton for about 8 years, and then Cambria, Hyatt, and some independents. Worked on the corporate level as well. So I've seen a lot of different brands, different technologies. As you can imagine, I mean, this will date me, but I go back to where a booking would come in and I would go over to my DOS's desk and open a paper leather-bound book and check for a group availability space and write in pencil. Don't ever write in pen. And it just has come so far. And, forget, we didn't have cloud anything. It was all just, hopefully it works. Hopefully it's plugged in and the internet is dialed in.
Yes.
So yeah, I've seen a lot, and I'm just really excited to be on the tech side of things now. It's Event Temple has been nothing short of a wonderful platform to use. I was a customer, and the company itself is amazing. They only sell with integrity, and it's just been a really nice culture fit for me. So.
I love that. And give us like your real quick rundown on if I met you in an elevator and I asked you what Event Temple does, what would you tell me?
So it's plain and simple. It's a hotel sales and catering platform that's easy to use, easy to integrate, and has the best customer service. You feel like you can immediately get your answers. It's simple. So.
Okay. I love that. Thank you for sharing. And thanks for joining me. So for those listening, Kate and I have been talking about this for a few weeks now. So we had like a meet and greet chat about a month ago, I would say. And I'm like, you got to come on Industry Chats because so much of what we do is we want to share stories and inspiration and helpful things to our industry. And your story I love your story so much because you went from being in the hotel realm, being a hotelier, to now helping hotels with tech. I think that's in our industry specifically a very big and sometimes scary transition. I mean, just shopping for tech for hoteliers is a little bit scary. That's literally why my company exists, right? So I cannot wait to hear more. And today we're really, the focus and the topic is talking about that transition you made and helping other hoteliers. Maybe they are nervous about buying tech or they want to switch roles altogether and get into tech, but don't know how. So let's just start with a little bit of your story. So what was your inspiration in going from I'm a hotel director of sales to now I'm going to sell this awesome SaaS product? I said, that's a big jump. I'm sure there was a lot there. So tell me a little bit about the inspiration behind that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a couple forces at play here, really. Personally, I really wanted to be more present for my family, for my kids. Hunter's 9, Hadley's 6. They're, full on activities and really getting into the fun after school, excitement. And, being in hospitality, it's a 24-hour business. I mean, we're always on, we're always available, whether being at the property level, customer facing, or in the corporate level office. It's a big job. So, and professionally, I was really looking forward to something new and something exciting, something that I was personally proud of, and something that could help our industry. Like I said, being a customer of Event Temple first, like really increased my drive to share it with hoteliers, just because I had never seen anything like it. I really wanted to bring it back full circle. And like I had mentioned before, the customer service was, unparalleled. The integration was easy. There was no downtime, no extensive onboarding or training, no more, I remember back in the day with other platforms, you would have to submit a ticket and wait 72 hours to change a liquor license on a banquet check. And it doesn't have to be that way anymore. It's just nice to finally have found a system that was easy and it just works. And it really did help that the team at Event Temple just, embraced my non-tech background and, really lean into listening to what a past hotelier would really need from the platform itself and be able to make those changes and want to make it better.
Well, and I love it. I was just reading the other day, and I think it was John Elston, who's, hospitality influencer, speaker. And I think it was him that said, if you really want to know what your customers are going through, put yourself in their shoes. But you actually lived Event Temple customer service before you went to sell it. I think that's such a unique perspective because so many of us get into, we don't know, we get training and we learn, but you actually got to experience firsthand before making that decision. What a unique opportunity.
It really was. And it wasn't, it wasn't an easy decision at all by any means. I mean, I was scared. It was a fear of the unknown. It's a brand new industry. Like I said, I'm not tech by any means. I'm still learning how to use my MacBook, like asking my son questions. So I'm like learning a new language, right? I'm learning new acronyms, and I'm just, hoping that I can, be as tech savvy and get all of this new knowledge over to like my fellow hoteliers so that they can face their own fears and make those necessary changes, because it really can definitely do wonders for their sales efforts.
Yeah. And I think you touch on a really interesting point, because we are going to talk a little bit today about some of the fears around just tech in general, but obviously it's all positive. I mean, you making this jump, I think I'm inspired just hearing it, but surely there's been some challenges. So tell me a little bit about what challenges have you faced, or that maybe someone looking to make a similar transition could expect to face in this journey?
Yeah, I think, just fear of the unknown, learning the new language, not having enough of a support system that can support you in this journey. I'm so lucky to have made so many great connections, obviously with you, and I've just learned so much. It's amazing the people that will connect with you, and coaches that will spend some time with you and talk with you about how to best put yourself forward. So I would just say surround yourself with the right people and, really lean in. Don't be afraid to connect. Don't be, I have made so many connections, and, of course I want to sell the product, but it's the connections are where it starts first, and just trying to get over that fear.
It is so interesting that you say that, because one of the things, and I'm like you, right? I have not a hotelier background, but hospitality background. And when I went into being an entrepreneur in the industry, I have been blown away over the last year and a half, I guess almost 2 years now, at how many people will give of their time just to talk to you, just to share with you, hey, okay, I know this is new. You might understand the industry completely in one area, but this is a new area. And I completely resonate with what you just said, is like, people are so willing. And I don't know if it's like, I've never been outside of hospitality, so I actually don't know if it would be somewhere else. But yes, connections and relationships are paramount. You can learn the rest, right? But having those is key, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's, hoteliers are I mean, just being in the hotel industry, looking back at my past systems and what you were
Mm.
given, there is a lot of fear for hoteliers with the hotel stack that they have. I mean, sometimes they're given something and they're expect to learn it and expect to use it, but then they don't know if they can speak up and say, is there a better platform for this
Mm.
property? And I think that's what hoteliers still talking about fear. It's resistance due to fear. Sometimes it's budget, or they don't know where to start. Right? I mean, this is why it's so important that companies like yours, like Affixify, are so important. I mean, to be able to submit your own property's data and like received unbiased recommendations, that's such a huge start.
Mm.
I just wish it had been around sooner, because a lot of people don't know what's out there, and they're
Yeah.
chat GPTing and Googling it. So it's
Mm.
there is a lot of fear around that as well.
Yeah, and fear is such an interesting topic because we hear it all the time. In fact, more than I would have guessed. You clearly lived it when you were in, hotelier's shoes. Like, what are some of those fears that hoteliers face when adopting tech? If you have wisdom, we'd love to hear, like, how can they address that, because you've been in their shoes, right? Tech adoption in our industry is really challenging.
It is, and it's about it's about challenging your team and your people above you, your director of sales if you're catering, your GM, your ownership groups. Telling them what you need, being vocal. There's always going to be fear of budget. I mean, we all know that, what's in the budget? Can we do this now? But being able to ask those questions and do some research, and there's also fear of losing data. I mean, everyone is fearful of, like, oh, if I make this transition, are my BEOs going to, come over? Are my contacts going to sync? Am I going to lose all of this hard work? I mean, I know from past experience, non-cloud-based machines break and BEOs get lost. Thank goodness we were printing them bi-weekly back then. But, and fear of learning a new system, it comes down to time. I mean, the time it would take to transition over. Sales doesn't they have no time left in their day. I mean, they don't have time to sit on a week-long training to get used to a system. So
yeah, no, it's so true. And how would you, like, if I called you today and said, Kate, which I'm sure people are doing this, I have these fears, but we know we have to make a change. I mean, what would ultimately push someone to still do that? Is it having those affirmations from the potential tech partner of, hey, you won't lose your data? Or is it training? What is it that you think could help someone maybe listening in who wants to make a tech change, but has those same fears and so kind of puts it off?
Sure. I would encourage, everyone most of the platforms now have free demos, free trials. I would recommend doing as many free trials, playing around with it. If you can get on a free trial, and just so everyone knows, you don't have to put in credit cards for these free trials.
Yeah.
This is literally a free trial.
Yes.
If you can go in there and imagine being able to just use it right away, imagine being able to use the system in the free trial and be like, wow, like, I've played around with it. Now I have this many questions. And then you go to, you get this customer service, you get the support from your teams.
Right.
But you have that knowledge. You say, like,
Yeah.
hey, look what this can do that my system's not doing, and then be able to speak to it. And then, the pricing comes later, and you can at least be knowledgeable enough to know that there's something else out there and that you might be missing out.
I think that's so valuable too for even vendors or tech partners listening to think about, because so often I've always been on the software side of it. I think the companies I've worked for have, like, held on to that. You can't do a trial, you got to get a commitment. But what you're saying makes so much sense. It's like, if your product, and it is, right, as good as you say it is, then let them have a trial. I mean, let them play around with it. That can only help you. I think that can really help people to hear, because so often there are questions for vendors too about, like, how do we get more hotelier adoption? How do we get in front of these hotels? And that could be a really powerful tool as well that I honestly hadn't thought of in a while, as a free trial.
Yeah, absolutely. They're out there. And I've been doing a couple just to kind of see what the competition's doing, even,
Yeah.
like, let's see what they are putting in their systems that we should be implementing in ours.
I love that. Yeah, and we do play in such a friendly space too. I think it was it was probably Bob, someone in our industry, it might have been Bob, but has always stood out to me on LinkedIn of posting like complimentary, hey, if a competitor is doing something awesome, let's call that out. And I love that. Hospitality is so unique.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
yeah. And so we talked a little about fear. We know it's challenging. Again, I hear it all the time, right? Hoteliers are hesitant. I've referenced this before, but I a few months ago had a discussion with a hotelier who actually told me that their tech adoption was just done so quickly because they didn't have time. And then now they knew they needed to make a change, but they were just leery of that change. So what you're saying is incredibly normal. And I also hear a lot that, hoteliers typically get into this industry to create amazing experiences, but not so much for tech. Tech is just this necessary part of the evolution of our industry. So I think what you've said, it resonates so much. And are there any other pain points that you would touch on? I mean, you've said several, but from your days or in your transition now and talking to hoteliers every day, like any pain points that might resonate with somebody else in the tech buying process?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's so many pain points that hoteliers deal with, and they may not even realize they're pain points or that they're workarounds. They're just so
Right.
used to doing it that way.
Yeah.
Um, but everyone wants more time back in their day, right? I mean, for family, for mental health, for their own personal growth, for sanity. But that means that they need to shorten the sales cycle. And so many people are still struggling with all these manual automations. And, you
Mm.
know, manual is great and it's personal, but faster responses are going to equal more bookings.
Yeah.
Building BEOs from scratch is a thing from the past. Like that does not need to be
Mm.
happening anymore. Creating like these great, impressive, like eye-catching proposals that can be easily done with the flip of a switch. So you don't have to go into a Word doc and change the pictures out for a wedding or change the pictures out for corporate. You can have templates set up for each one in a seamless system. And then integrations are really powerful. Some people aren't even integrated to a PMS, and in some cases that's fine. But to get a call and be able to answer, oh, you want to have a meeting for a week, and this is your week. Well, I want to be able to look at one screen, one system, and say, well, I don't have that week, but I do have the next. Can you, move let's reschedule and get you booked right then and there instead of having to toggle between and make them wait. I just think time is really the most valuable thing that a salesperson has. So a
Right.
CRM that can customize these for you, make your product look amazing, and get the proposal in there first is just that's what we are focusing on.
Well, and I love that because it only grows the bottom line of the hotel because they're quick. And we know, I just know from sales research in general, not even specific to hospitality, that the quicker you follow up on an inbound, the more likely you are to win that deal. So it sounds like what you guys are doing is empowering that, and technology like Event Temple addresses maybe those points, like you said, the hotelier didn't even know they had, but it solves their problem. And I love that. I think I'm actually going to take what you just said and reshare that in a clip, because that right there, like, to me, I'm like, yeah, if I'm a hotelier, I'm signing up right now. This makes so much sense. But it's a really good point that leaning into technology can make a huge impact. Even what you just said, it just takes the jump. It just takes the change, and it takes the willingness to say, okay, it might be hard. We might have to go through data migration, but it will be valuable at the end of the day.
Yes, absolutely. It's all worth it.
I love it. And I wanted to kind of close on this note because you said something. So you and I had done kind of a prep call for this, and you said something that stood out to me, and I thought, let's end on this. So you had said, hoteliers are always serving others, which I absolutely loved. And you said they pour so much of themselves into the guest experience and perfecting this experience. And that's like their heart and soul. And you can feel free to add to that too. But what is it that you love so much then about now being able to turn around and serve them with great technology? I loved that you mentioned that, and I'd love to hear you elaborate on that to close us out today.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Hospitality is a family. My whole family is in hospitality. My husband's a GM for Marriott. My brother and sister-in-law are also working for Marriott. So we all understand it really, really well.
Right.
As a GM, a DOS, catering sales manager, even banquets, like 100%, they're focused on that guest experience 24
Mm.
hours a day. They're giving back, they're providing the best experience, the best customer service. And I'm just really excited to be able to give something back to them. I'm able to provide the same level of hospitality back to those sales teams that I was a part of. I had an example this morning. I got a call from an owner of a hotel that I had recently worked for, and through a third-party management group. And they have a truly unique independent property. They're struggling with organizing their leads because they're growing,
Mhm.
and they're not using a platform. So they were shocked at how easy the platform was to use, at how cost saving it was. And so many hoteliers are wearing like so many different hats. It's so
Right.
easy to miss a call, forget to send an email follow up. I always say, I don't want to remember, and I want a
Yeah.
system that will do it for me.
So smart.
Um, so that's kind of where I'm like loving this full circle of I got to sell for that hotel before, and now I get to give them a system that's going to help their sales process. Um,
So
it's
cool.
just taking on this new role as full circle hospitality for me, and I'm really excited to be a part of it.
That is an incredible story. And if you guys end up partnering with them, that would make a really cool kind of case study or something.
Yeah.
Trevor, if you're watching. No, I think that would be incredible. And I love that too. And also, you have that trust already because you were in their shoes. And I think that's so important too. And I can't wait to see your growth in this side of things and continue to watch Event Temple's growth. And yeah, we're so excited to have you. Is there anything else? Any parting words? This has been such an awesome conversation today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thankful for the time. Obviously with you, Jasmine, it's always nice to talk with you. And thank you to the industry for embracing me and welcoming me. I'm really excited to see some meet new faces at these conferences coming up. And to spread the word about Event Temple and help hoteliers. So I'm just really appreciative of everybody helping me through this new role.
Oh, well, we're so happy that you're here. Affixify is so happy to partner with you guys. And for those watching, thank you so much for joining today. We will include Kate's direct contact info in the comments after the live session so that if you want to get in touch with her, you can. And we will be back next week. We are booked through April with more industry chats. So don't forget to join us on Wednesdays at 12 o'clock Central. Kate, thank you so much for being here with us. And we look forward to continuing watching your growth and having a front seat. So we'll talk soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.